harder to fix something than it is to break it. It's harder to live a life than it is to take it. It's harder to think it through than to just do what you want to do with no regard for the consequences. It's harder to feed a child than it is to starve it. It's harder to stop a war than it is to start it. It's harder to see the truth than to just buy the lies they feed you. But these things have their consequences. In the hallowed halls of power, right at this very hour, they are shaking the dice of the future. When they're through with the game that they play in our name, we'll be left to deal with the consequences. It's harder to stand on feet than it is to lie down. It's harder to meet them in the eye than to just stare at the ground. And it's harder to see who is the ends and who's the means if you don't think about the consequences. In the hallowed halls of power, right at this very hour, they are shaking the dice of our future. When they're through with the game that they play in our name, we'll be left to deal with the consequences. Harder to keep hope alive than to just give up and step aside. These things have their consequences. We gotta storm the halls of power right at this very hour. We gotta wake them up and make them take notice. We will not lend our strength to leaders who refuse to think of the way of the consequences. We gotta storm the halls of power right at this very hour. We gotta wake them up and make them take notice. We will not lend our strength to leaders who refuse to think of the weight of the consequences. The consequences. The consequences. The consequences.
A disregard for the laws of the country. Well, I don't think he has, because everything he's done, even the things that people don't like, the Congress has voted on. And if the Congress votes on it and says, yeah, go for it.
It doesn't absolve him of
Well, but it is.
Overseeing a
But
coordinated
if he's following his process, and don't think for a minute that the Senate and the House of Representatives do not look at the information the president gives them, especially when it's a bipolar situation which we have with the president and the Congress.
today. We didn't win the war line.
Actually, back in the early parts of 2000, it was very close. He never had the 60% majority. He had to depend on Democrats to cross over to help him out. And Democrats did. Hillary Clinton voted all the way for him, every step of the way. And she had access.
She's on my shit list too.
She had access to the exact same information that the president had access to, and she voted for it. But not just.
She didn't create the information.
Neither did Bush.
He put it together in
No.
a way that.
See, Bush probably didn't see it until it was put on his desk, and the intelligence people, whoever they were, said, "Look, this is what we know. This is what we think." And he sends that forward. If he's no different than a manager or a director of a state agency. He has people gather information for him, they give it to him, and he says, okay, let's do this or let's not. He has to make a decision based on the information he's given.
Is this in regards to Iraq? Going to a war in Iraq? Is that what we're talking about, the information?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. The information he got, most of it was developed by President Clinton. and put into a nice little package about what should be done in Iraq and Iran. And that package was ignored. Clinton didn't even act on it yay or nay. He just put it away and forgot about it. When Bush came into office, it was still sitting there and nothing was done with it until after 9/11. And even then they didn't do anything about Iraq for a year and a half. And the only reason they went after Iraq is because Musharraf, the president of Pakistan, sent a brief to the CIA informing them of what he knew about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And it was that information, along with what Clinton had compiled in 1998.
Well, there's a lot of other factors. There was like the guy Curveball who was given information. He was a guy who got a lot of information.
Well, there were people that got other information. I'm not
and that wasn't like good information. It was, and we based some of our policies and our ideas based on that.
That's not an impeachable offense, sir. Getting bad information is not
well, how about
offense.
this? No, that wouldn't be. But what
failing to investigate it and make,
or like the Downing Street reports that showed that they were intending to go to Iraq before some of this information.
That was Blair. Britain was going to attack Iraq.
But we had stuff about the United States was in there too.
Paul O'Neill said Bush had that.
But see, you're giving credit to Bush for things that were actually being done when Clinton was president, and now you want to impeach Bush.
Well, okay.
Because he accepted information that Clinton gave him.
But he passed along this, and you know what? That Curveball.
He passed that along, sure.
Curveball, they based a lot of stuff on this guy named Curveball.
That's not an impeachable offense.
No, but they believed that guy.
But it's not an impeachable offense.
Okay,
sir.
but if Curveball gave bad information, and then they parlay that into with other information they have,
that turned out to be just as bad as
bad. Now
that's still not an impeachable offense.
But is it if they're lying about it? What if they're lying?
The people were lying about it, but if the president didn't know that he was receiving written lies,
well, I think people he did.
Well, how do you know that?
Well,
how do you know that?
We need to get a few people
no,
under
you can't
oath,
do that. You can't do that. See, that's impeaching and then digging up the evidence.
What about
you can't do that.
What about just spying on citizens, wiretapping? What about habeas corpus?
That was all approved by the Congress. If you're going to impeach the president for that and the vice president, then you've got to impeach every member of Congress.
Guess what? They may be next. They may be next.
No, it can't be next because it was all done as a package. You can't say, oh well, this Congress voted on this package that the president asked for.
How about this?
So we're going to impeach the president, and then maybe later we'll impeach the guys who actually voted for it.
How about this concept? So we got all these mistakes, all this bad info, and what? It's all okay? We're just going to all sit around and do nothing? When do we take this bad information and say, let's fix the problem?
Well,
you're admitting, I'm admitting, everybody knows this bad information.
There was bad information.
I think Bush even knew there's bad information like we all know.
Well, but we don't
But they have the neocon agenda. The neocon agenda is to world power.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Somebody says to a policeman, oh, Mr. Policeman, this guy told lies about me in front of a whole bunch of people in the Rose Garden, and he knew that wasn't true, and now he's impeached my name, and he's made me the laughingstock of people in the community, and I want to sue for X number of dollars. What happens?
Well, you subpoena him, you put his hand in the air.
Okay. Let's stop there for a minute. What else do you do? Do you get a bill of indictment from a court right away and have that guy arrested for slander? No. They're going to make you present some kind of evidence that they can put before a grand jury that says there's reasonable reason to suspect that there was a crime committed by this person.
How about this? How about all these people that we that are getting off the hook, executive, privilege, and all these things? It's just blatant. Well, they're all getting just blatantly they lied, they covered up.
How long has that been going on?
How long are you going to tolerate it?
No. Just how long has it been going on? What I want to know
You know what? It's been going on a lot lately. It's been going on a real lot lately.
It's been going on since before Ted Kennedy killed that woman on the bridge crossing the river.
Okay.
It really has.
Okay.
People with money and privilege get treated differently in court than people who don't have money.
When do we get fed up with that? And when do we call upon our senators and our
But that's not an impeachable offense, sir. That's the difference. It's not an impeachable offense. There's only 3 reasons to impeach. And if one of those 3 reasons does not exist in some overwhelming way, there will not be any articles of impeachment.
We'll see.
They've had impeachment papers forward on President Bush since 2003. There's been a bill in Congress to impeach the president.
There
Why
hasn't
do
been
you,
a Congress able to do it.
why do you
since
think it hasn't
2004.
moved forward?
I guess
2006.
you haven't fucked somebody's
It hasn't moved forward
secretary
because
in
they
order to
can't
get
find the evidence to support the bill. And if you don't have the evidence to support the bill, the bill of impeachment will never
Is
go
the
forward.
evidence being withheld?
How do you know that?
Well, let's investigate it. Let's investigate
No,
it.
no, no.
Executive privilege to,
How do you know that?
because for the first time in history, they've responded executive privilege to numerous
Not
things
true.
that are not
Well,
covered.
Nixon
Not
Pat
true.
Tillman,
It's been decided
what
by
does
the
Pat
Supreme
Tillman have to
Court.
do?
Do you know who first used the articles that gives the president the power to withhold information? Do you know who the first president was to use that?
Who?
President Roosevelt, and he used it 633 times
Okay.
during World War II.
God, if he was still alive, we'd be after him.
We'd be
Yeah.
after Roosevelt. You right, you bet. He just about did away with the Constitution completely.
How about lying about the
Yeah.
Bush's successor?
How do we know that? See, there's a difference between having bad information and lying. Lying says you knew. Okay, but lying says you knew. You knew that it was this way, and you
Scott
deliberately.
Ritter and Hans Blix were crazy. They were
No, they said
Can I
something
finish?
different. Yeah, I'm just saying this stuff.
They were in Iraq investigating
Okay.
with the weapons
Sure.
inspectors. They were calling them unpatriotic.
Okay.
With all the satellite information, and you're telling me they didn't know that they
Good point.
Well, but here's a point also. Musharraf, the president of Pakistan, sent a very detailed 475-page document to the CIA outlining weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Do you trust
Six-
the ISI?
Hold on, just a minute. Just 6 months before
Doesn't he do this in Nazi
President Bush
Germany?
presented
That's how
this.
Hitler got his
Oh,
power.
but hold on just a second.
You trust the ISI?
I don't trust anybody. I don't even trust Kulangowski. So, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust any president or any vice president. They get my trust about as far as the ballot box, and that's it. But what I do know is that when you start talking about impeaching the president, that's not talking about firing your coworker because he cheated on a form at
So
work.
you think they should?
This is very serious, sir.
Not
For that
same
little
thing as
extra pay?
removing them.
I thought that was stupid. I don't think it was an impeachable offense.
Well, I think you're right.
And I wasn't for it. They did it, but it didn't get anywhere. You know why it didn't get anywhere? There was no evidence of the seriousness of the crime necessary to impeach.
Well, how about when Bush president he was getting warrants before he was wiretapped? He said that on video, and then he changed it.
And then they make us prove it, and it's all top secret.
Okay.
Well, what about that?
That's going to be part of it because all of this stuff is that there's a lot of this top secret things we don't know and probably never ever will know.
And if we try to know, they're not going to let us
That's
know. They're
right.
going to play the big. So can't we
And
work a
sometime-
different angle against them to get
But-
them out of this position?
Okay, but that doesn't go to the president because most of the secrecy stuff in this country
How about?
is done by the Congress. They're the ones that determine what's going to be secret and what isn't. It's not the president.
The CIA and the FBI.
The
They have all
CIA,
sorts- the NSA,
The
they have all
CIA,
sorts of
and they
secrets.
all have.
That's not true.
Sir,
That's just not true.
It is true. My dad was in NSA
I
for a
don't
long
care.
time.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And-
and they don't have secrets?
Oh, they had secrets, but they had, for lack of a better word, they had a process to follow to call something a top secret. It wasn't just somebody took a stamp
The
and
Congress
popped
has-
it on the paper and
Congress
said,
has been
"This is
trying
top."
to get the secrets out. What are you talking about?
Oh, yes, they have.
Yeah.
And when they get the secret out of Ted Kennedy, I'm going to start listening to other things.
Well,
they
that's
wanna
kind of
do.
Ted Kennedy's
about
going back a ways. We got to.
Chappaquiddick, where he murdered a woman,
You don't know that.
covered it up,
don't know that.
walked
You don't
away
know
from
that.
it. Yeah,
You
we
talked
do.
about it,
He committed vehicular homicide. That's murder, sir. In every country. So what? When he had the accident. And that, sir, would fit the crime of the impeachable offense. It would.
I'm not saying
If our president went out and killed a woman
Impeach Bush and Cheney. Impeach Bush and Cheney. Impeach
I remember hearing about this,
Impeach Bush and Cheney.
I don't know.
Impeach Bush and Cheney. 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 Impeach Bush and Cheney.
But I know who they are.
Impeach Bush and
Send me an
Cheney.
email.
Impeach Bush and Cheney. Impeach Bush and Cheney. Impeach Bush and Cheney. Woo, 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 woo!
They see it right there.
Yeah.
Isn't that is very convenient, man. Notice? sorry. That won't happen. I have no idea even how to begin to do that.
Private building, okay. Generally speaking, they can ask you. Right, that wasn't for a video game, that was
Go to YouTube and look up Bushisms.
Bushisms?
Yeah.
Say that again?
Go to YouTube and look up Bushisms.
Okay, thank you. How you doing? Good.
What's going on in this country? I mean, we're effectively blocking the sidewalk and nobody's doing anything about it.
Well, I guess they just don't want you sitting in the shade and resting your legs, but you can block the sidewalk, have an impeachment, and do whatever the hell you want today.
Block the sidewalk.
Today it's getting a little bit. Now this would have warranted maybe all that crap from the other day, not poor grandma sitting in the shade.
I know. We were just sitting right there.
I mean, in a grandpa. Well, it started with me. They probably took one look at me and said, "Can you get up?" And I said, "Okay," and I got up. Then everybody else went over and sat there.
Well, and I was thinking when they were sitting there, because Sarah and somebody else was sitting there, and I thought Sarah and I went up. Anyway, Sarah and I went up to the office last week.
Uh-huh.
and with somebody else that I can't remember, and ask them point blank, can you come down and explain to these people that we're not violating anybody's rights, we're not explain the private property issue. If you people are saying that it's not Blumenauer's office that wants us out of here, come and tell the police that, come and tell the security guard that, because he was just going ballistic, and it's just.
I think that caused a reaction. I think it had an impact.
It did. That's when his office chief of staff came down, and then of course Willie showed up later. And they had quite a conversation with the police, and I'm not sure what the end result was, but if you look around here today, there's not much security, and there's...
No, the police just pulled out of their parking spot. They were right behind you. They just pulled out, and it's... Oh, they're speaking of Mr. Friendly. But I think that and this whole issue of sitting in the shade and just relaxing and doing nothing wrong is not really a big issue that they all want to get into. So it's kind of goofy.
Well, it really...
They probably looked at that and said, you know what, we got bigger battles. Let's not go there on this.
Well, exactly. They're telling us, okay, everybody else can walk through here and sit down, but we can't walk through here and sit down because we're part of this group.
Yeah.
So, okay, what group is that? Because we're exercising our civil liberties and out here protesting and demonstrating, but we can't go back here and sit like everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, obviously we can, or they've dropped that little.
Well, we can. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
I mean, even the police said, yeah, you can go back there and sit down.
Yep.
Is that the?
Do you see something?
I don't know. I wonder if that's the gal that Malcolm was talking to. I think she's sort of the
spokesperson.
Yeah.
Is that down on the corner down there, or where are you looking at?
Right here we go. I think it's Joe Fox. Malcolm was talking
But again,
I understand that.
I don't want to be leaving. I just want to stand here with my friend. Hello, Dad. Hello, Dad.
Well, I'll see you next week. Stop by and say hi. Thanks.
That's corporate security. The guy that we were having so much trouble with in security.
That's his boss?
His boss.
She have much to say to us?
Yeah,
Nice things?
She basically said that we could use this area over here if we get tired, and we can use the benches. We can use
in the little gazebo over there?
Where the cops said we couldn't sit down, we can now sit down.
That's
So
nice
that
of them.
was a
I appreciate that.
And I suggested that the people that would go in there would not take their signs in there with them. They wouldn't take off anything they were wearing, but they would not bring the signs in there, so to freak people out.
She liked that.
But I also put a disclaimer and said, this is not an organization.
You spoke for yourself on that.
All I can do is ask people not to do that.
Sure.
So that's what I do. I ask people.
What's her name?
Lone vet.
Lisa.
Oh, her name was Lisa?
Lisa.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so far they've changed their tactics, I think. We're not too sure about the police, but we'll see.
Well, we
Seems-
have the bus.
Yeah,
And we
so
have
far they
Joe's,
haven't bothered the bus. Which
battery. What's your name?
How do you ever get out of their town?
All right, I'll hold your sign now.
This is the Dean way. And if the black hankies should come. Note draft.
Draft Tom Houghton.
I like Tom. He inspires me.
But he's really close to Blumenauer.
Oh, we don't know that at all.
No, I'm telling you, it's very.
Well, Tom's a smart man. Maybe he can rub off a little on him.
Yeah.
Well, because Tom Houghton came out for impeachment, which surprised me.
He came out where?
He came out for impeachment about 2-3 weeks ago. He was on the borderline, and I can understand it because I was on the borderline a couple of months ago. I didn't think it would happen.
It's rallying up. I hear more and more about this
more
word.
now, the American people. That's why I think they're talking about doing impeachment on Gonzalez. I think they're trying to throw us a bone.
Well, no, it's
But impeaching the mailman seems to be a stupid idea.
Well, we can impeach him too. I don't mind that. I never liked that guy from the get-go.
Well, no, but he's the mailman.
Yeah.
Whoever we get is going to do the same thing. So,
well, let's not. I wouldn't stop there. That would be just our warm-up.
Here we now know that Bush has had Lyme disease for almost a year. Do you know what that does? Dementia.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it's not caught at early stage.
I didn't hear that he had that. Was that a shame?
Yeah, they just revealed that.
I kind of
now,
feel bad
look
for
for the 25th Amendment.
The 25th Amendment, huh?
Yeah, we get Cheney. That would be bad. I'll tell you something about the Constitution.
What are you saying? Because it's so possessing. So, I mean, you know, we need to really be.
Everybody
you know, I mean, you. Well, I understand your goal is.
Hi there. How's it going? Oh, there.
You bet.
Impeach.
Thank you.
Impeach for peace.
Exactly.
No, you're right. You're right. It's very.
You guys drove up from Eugene, right?
Yeah, we did.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us up here.
That's what
Glad to be a part of it.
I write a little bit on indie media as Joe Anybody, post up some videos and stuff. So
Yeah, I see your links coming into my website.
Good. Are you the Squadron 31? Now you did a. Let me get this camera back.
Sure.
You did a thing where you and I wrote you, but I never heard anything back. Where you filmed down in Newport Beach, I think it was. You tried to put your bus.
The city of Newport, yeah.
And they didn't allow you to put your bus in the parade.
We had permission to be in the parade. We were going to be with the Lincoln County Democrats, and they had permission for a bus to be in the parade with them. And apparently they didn't tell them it was Veterans for Peace, which I don't understand why that's a problem, but they didn't like that.
I've seen that, yeah.
When they saw our bus, they flipped out and
wouldn't let you put it in there.
We knew immediately that we weren't going to be allowed in the parade because of the way they treated us. And we protested and said, hey, this isn't right. Why can't we be in the parade? And the person who organized the parade came over to us and told us that our bus could not be in the parade because it didn't represent the spirit of the community. And we got that on video.
And you know what? And that's on your website,
Yes,
which is
www.squadron13.com. And there's a little picture, a little icon on the front where you can see the Lincoln County Sheriff getting out of his police car. And if you click on that video, it'll take you to the page that has all the information, pictures, story, video of that, what happened that day.
It's a good story and inspired me. I think I wrote the city a letter, even said that, I'm for peace, and I was really sort of upset by that call.
Literally, hundreds of people wrote to the editors. We got tremendous publicity from that. In fact, as disappointing as it was not to be in the parade, by the time that parade was finished, we knew that we scored a big success because of what happened. And that's often how it works. Is
the catch-22 is they try to suppress your rights and stomp on you, and that just makes bigger issues.
Totally backfired on them.
I was curious, you were filming the police at one point and they told you to put the camera away?
That's correct.
Did any confrontation come from that, or any I want that film?
I complied with his request to stop filming, but I posted the little bit that I did film, which wasn't really very flattering for them. And it's also on the website, on that page. You can go there and see it. We honored his request not to continue filming. We stopped.
Well, thank you for what you're doing out there.
You're welcome.
Constitution, we're very concerned that the people have, the right of redress and immediate redress in case of abuse of power. And impeachment was an extremely important mechanism to the framers of the Constitution. And it is the mechanism. When there have been breaches of constitutional law, high crimes, which are by definition crimes against the Constitution, against our system of government. Committing perjury about a love affair is a crime, but it is not a high crime. It does not endanger the government of the United States. I've laid out articles of impeachment that total 13 high crimes committed by the Bush administration, and I mean the whole administration. They all must be impeached. Bush, Cheney, Gonzalez, Rice.
You say you had 13 of them?
Yeah.
You've compiled 13 yourself?
Yeah, and I do PowerPoint presentations. I didn't just make them up. I got them from Francis Boyle, I got them from Ramsey Clark, I got them from Elizabeth Holtzman.
Is there anywhere, do you have those documented anywhere where a guy could go look on the internet?
On our website.
On Squadron...
Squadron13.com.
Squadron13.com has those 13 listed there or somewhere on the page?
Yeah, well actually I think the whole thing is up on our other website called
Veterans Against Torture. But there's a link to it from Squadron 13.
From Squadron. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a website called Joe Anybody, and I'll put a link to you guys up there and to the Veterans Against Torture.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll put that link on mine also to help get the word passed around so people are informed.
The other link there, we just taped over in Newport.
I seen your Newport bus thing, and I was talking, was it Gordon?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I seen your video, and I was inspired by that too.
Yeah.
Yes, YouTube, you bet.
That's me in the black hat.
Okay.
Reading it. See? But see, this is very real. I mean, this is not frivolous.
Yeah.
You know, if our elected representatives won't do the job, why shouldn't 1 million people mass on the Washington Mall, march on the White House to make the citizens arrest of the criminals that are running our government? You know, I mean, we have a right to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And if our elected representatives will not take the action they are constitutionally required to take, then the responsibility falls upon the people.
The people.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks. And what your name?
Jack Dresser.
Jack Dresser?
Yeah.
Okay, Jack. Thank you for speaking up here. I'm going to put this up on Indie Media, so do a little editing and then.
Let me give you this is my Squadron, my political card. I have to keep this carefully
separate.
Yeah, careful firewall between this and my professional.
Okay, I hear you.
Because I do federally funded research.
Aviation Museum.
Well, that was Gordon's website way back. We started out together as Veterans for Carry, see? And Gordon had this. I had written this piece. I'm a psychologist, and Gordon had read this piece that I wrote. He hadn't met me yet. And it's a summary of Justin Frank's book, Bush on the Couch book, and some other material. And it was titled The Psychopathology of George Bush. So Gordon, he picks this paper up, it's just a little 2-page thing, and he reads it and he says, oh my God. He said, either this guy's crazy or we're in deep shit. You know?
Guess what? It was option 2.
That's right. So anyway, he started reading some of my other writings, which are all up on the website under Flights of Thought on War and Politics.
Okay,
not everything.
Flights of
Thought.
Okay,
on
good.
War and Politics.
Good.
That's to make it fit in with the Squadron 13.
Good, thank you.
Theme, you know. So anyway, he changed this aviation-oriented website into a political website, which it's been ever since.
Okay.
And has videos and still shots of our various actions and our bus and.
Nice.
And I was a columnist for the Springfield News for about a year, a flaming liberal columnist. And so a lot of my columns are up there that are relevant to the national situation.
Good. Good. I'll check it out, and I'm going to get the word out too.
Okay.
Hey.
Shall be removed from office. Shall be, not maybe, but shall be. It's mandatory. On impeachment for a conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Okay, regarding the war, this is very important. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall made in pursuit, and all treaties made, shall be the supreme law of the land. Article 6, paragraph 2. Okay, the treaties, the relevant treaties are the United Nations Charter, the Nuremberg Charter, the Nuremberg Peace Conference of 1928, all of which prohibit aggressive war. Nazis were tried and executed in Nuremberg for the raging of aggressive war, exactly what we have done. So my first charge is the launching of aggressive illegal war against Afghanistan, see, which did not attack us. We were not attacked by a nation state.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second.
You're approved to go in and videotape in the office.
Okay. Can you know what? Can I break away here real quick and go? Are they still in there?
I'll walk in there.
Okay, cool.
Well, I want to thank Congressman Blumenauer, who is my congressman, for voting against the last money for the war in Iraq. But it's not enough, because this president has continued to violate our laws and do exactly as he pleases. That's why we have to impeach him. He's broken over 700 and some laws. That's more than all of the other presidents combined, by signing off saying that as a commander-in-chief he doesn't have to obey our laws or our Constitution. This is why we must impeach this man, and I'm urging Congressman Blumenauer to sign on to H.R. 333 to impeach Cheney and eventually to impeach Bush. And that's why we're here, protesting because Earl has not yet signed onto this bill. 45 others have, and I certainly want him to sign on too.
We're going to read a list of the military dead since we've been coming here. For each one of these, at least 16 have been injured, and each day, only 100 Iraqis killed, and thousands having to go out of Iraq as refugees. On August 7th, 2 people whose names have not yet been released were killed. Also, John E. Bonnell, Jr., 22 years old.
Congressman Earl Blumenauer's office.
Craig Barber, 20 years old, on the 6th.
She is on the other line. You want to
Christopher Nonberger, 22 years old. Also on the 6th, 4 people whose names have not yet been released. On the 5th, Jeremy Bohannon, only 18. Justin Blackwell on the 20, who was 27 years old, also on the 5th. Joey Link, 29. Charles Leonard Jr., 29. On the 4th, Dustin Wakeman, 25 years old. Jason LaFleur, 28 years old. Jaron Holiday, 21. Braden Long, only 19. Matthew Murchison, 21. On the 2nd, Christian Vasquez, 20. Fernando Santos, 29. Christian Rojas Gallego, 24.
August 2nd, Eric Salinas, 25. Julian Ingles Rios, 52. Travis Bachman, 30. Bradley Marshall, 37. July 31st, Daniel Reyes, 24. Steve Edwards, 35. Stephen Maddies, 41. Zachariah Gonzalez, 23. Charles Heinlein, 23. Alfred Hirala, 29. Jason Kessler, 29. Sean Stokes, 24. On the 29th of July, the following: Jack Richards, Sergeant, 39. Wilberto Silveras, Staff Sergeant, 38. Cody Grader, Private First Class, 20. Michael Baloga, 21. On July 26th, the following: William Howdeshell, Sergeant, 37. Charles Bilbrey, Specialist, 21. Jaime Rodriguez, 19. Daniel Leckel, Specialist, 19. July 24th, Cami Florexel, Specialist, 20. Joshua Matero, Staff Sergeant, 29. Daniel Noble, Hospitalman, 21. Robert Lynch, Lance Corporal, 20. July 24th, Matthew Zindars, Corporal, 21. Courtney Finch, Sergeant, 27. Bobby Twitty, Lance Corporal, 20. Sean Adams, Sergeant, 21. That's the end of this list.
So,
and thus it doesn't count the 50-some thousand seriously wounded.
Exactly.
do you have another list?
Nor the 600,000
Or do we have someone
Iraqis.
else coming in? Clients coming in. Oh, okay. Where are we supposed to? Going. We can keep going. You can read all of them. Which ones did you read? Originally we read through.
Wear one of your bicycles. These are too cute.
Thanks for letting us come in and read those.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no.
We're just going in to register our displeasure with Blumenauer.
Oh,
For not
because,
doing
yeah,
any.
we had,
Well, the door's open.
we had people sitting for half hour. I thought that's what you were going to do.
Oh.
But we're
Yeah.
going to stop it now so everybody gets a chance to say goodbye.
Okay.
Because it ends at 2.
Right.
Go in and
Thank
get
you.
him.
Thank
Can
you.
I film you guys? Just can I
For
pull
what?
you? Can I pull you for? Can I speak to him about the war?
Yeah, but I mean, who are you?
Oh, I'm with India Media and supporting these people, these protesters. And
Hi there.
Hey.
I'm going to register, I guess, my complaint with Mr. Blumenauer about his doing nothing about impeachment or censure. And I'm a constituent for him, and I voted for him again and again and again. And I'm not going to anymore if he doesn't get on the ball.
Either that or to tell us what the Republicans have on the Democrats that the Democrats can't get off their ass and do something. I mean, what are they doing? Have they got a gun to their heads? Well,
Can we leave our name? Or do
sure,
you-
absolutely. Those are the questions I'm sure that people ask all the time, aren't they?
And any contact info, and we can certainly get a response back to you.
Is he going to have any kind of town meetings on this break?
There is one in the works, yes. It has. I don't have any details about it, but it'll be on the website once we get that figured out.
You know, this is such a safe district, I just don't understand why he does nothing. And they haven't given you any talking points to answer.
Well, that'll all be at the meeting, I'm sure.
That'd be what?
At the meeting.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why did you walk away?
Mom and Dad,
One military death that has taken place in the last 21 days. 2 veterans will ring the bell. Harvey will ring it, and I will ring it. We will ring 5 rings at each interval and switch places. We will not read the names. We have done that inside of Blumenauer's office. We are halfway through the people who have given their lives in Iraq for your safety. We have done 35. There are 35 left to go. Anybody like to say something, John?
I can do that.
No, would you like to say something?
I got a letter from Senator Wyden earlier this week that has some important information in it. I had written to him and everyone else in our delegation about impeachment on the day after the election on November 7th, 2006, and asked them to do their duty and move forward with impeachment of this administration. This week is the first written communication I've received from any member of Congress who represents me or our state there on the issue of impeachment. Senator Wyden wrote, "Dear Mr. Braddock, thank you for contacting me to express your support for impeaching President Bush. I appreciate hearing from you on this important issue. As you may know, the Constitution gives sole power to initiate impeachment proceedings to the House of Representatives. As a senator, I cannot initiate impeachment proceedings. However, I continue to use my Senate seat, and in particular my membership on the Senate Intelligence Committee, to investigate the activities of the Bush administration. For instance, I was stunned to hear the administration admit that the President directed the National Security Agency to eavesdrop on American phone calls without getting a warrant. And incidentally, this letter is dated July 20th before the action in Congress last week in broadening that authority. Although I'm a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, I had not been briefed on this program. I have pushed for the Senate Intelligence Committee to conduct hearings to examine the scale and legality of these programs. And I think this is an important statement by our senator. I'm very proud of him for it. I believe that every member of Congress has a duty to the American people to serve as a check on the power of the executive branch, and I intend to live up to that responsibility. Congress needs to assert its authority as a co-equal branch of the federal government and hold the administration accountable for its conduct of the war in Iraq, the NSA domestic spying program, lobbyist influence in developing our energy policies, and other matters of national interest. Again, I thank you for keeping me apprised of your interest in this issue. If I may be of further assistance to you in the future, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Ron Wyden, United States Senator." I got it on Monday in my mail. On Tuesday, I emailed Representatives Blumenauer, Hooley, DeFazio, and Wu. Attached is a copy of the July 20, 2007 letter I received yesterday in my office mail from Senator Ron Wyden. It is a courageous statement of leadership. Senator Wyden correctly observes that your body has the sole power to initiate impeachment. That he cannot do. It is interesting that the area of concern of Senator Wyden gives as an example NSA eavesdropping on Americans without a warrant. That as one where Congress gave that area is one where Congress gave authority to the Attorney General and Director of National Intelligence even more latitude just before the August recess. I appreciate that each of you and Senator Wyden voted against that bill under intense presidential pressure. Former Treasury Secretary Paul O'Neill's 2002 book, The Price of Loyalty, chronicled firsthand this administration's systematic disabling of the Constitution's checks and balances. I've lent that book, but recall that when asked what can be done about it, O'Neill replied, just tell the truth. The four of you are uniquely and historically positioned to effect the Constitution's remedy to get at the truth and renew the balance in the face of an unchecked executive branch. Recall that in Watergate it did not happen overnight, but the investigative process brought to light abuses not imagined, such that Republicans on the House Judiciary staff and in the U.S. Senate ultimately were compelled to assist in putting an expedited end to the Nixon administration. I recall in July 1973, like it was yesterday, watching my flickering black and white television through the window of a third-floor dormer I was painting on my parents' northeast floral home. White House Deputy Assistant to the President, Alexander Butterfield, had just been sworn. Senate Watergate Committee Minority Counsel Fred Thompson asked a simple question, whether there were recording devices in the Oval Office. With Butterfield's affirmative answer, the hinge of history turned. A year later, Nixon was gone. Let's aim for July 2nd, 2008, the 5th anniversary of my nephew, Marine Corporal Travis Bradignall's death in Karbala, Iraq, and Bush's statement, bring them on. Please return from this break and introduce jointly sponsored articles of impeachment against President Bush, paralleling the first two articles of H.R. 333 and consistent with the Democratic Party of Oregon's impeachment resolution 2007-777 passed March 10, 2007. And I think the Wyden letter is certainly more important than my email, but I've got copies of both for anyone who wants to take one and pass it around.
We gotta storm the halls of power right at this very hour. We gotta wake them up and make them take notice. We will not lend our strength to leaders who refuse to think of the way of the consequences. We gotta storm the halls of power right at this very hour. We gotta wake them up and make them take notice. We will not lend our strength to leaders who refuse to think of the weight of the consequences. The consequences, the consequences, the consequences.